Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing when Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s will come to an end. Now, I cannot tell you the amount of times I get asked this. I get asked this by people that are enjoying and loving Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. I get asked this by people that are not enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and I get asked this by people who frankly have not watched Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and this is not a Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 specific question. The amount of people that asked me this during the Arc 5 days, during the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains days, this is a question that is always on the minds of everyone, and I think it's on the minds of everyone whether you're loving the show or not loving the show, and it's something that always fascinates me. You know, when will the current Yu-Gi-Oh! End, and will we get another Yu-Gi-Oh! Series? Now, towards the end of this year, I plan on doing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! 8, not a lot, but a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh! 8 based discussion videos, whether I think Rush Duels will still be the main playstyle in the anime, whether I think we're going to get another anime, whether I think it's going to stick with Studio Bridge or not, but we're going to get to that later in the year. Not going to really spend much time in this video talking about a potential Yu-Gi-Oh! 8. Instead, we are going to fully focus on Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, when it's going to end, addressing the rumors that it is quote-unquote confirmed to end in 2022 and how those started, and we're just going to jump right into it. So, without further ado, let's begin. For those of you that don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, the newest Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, is the first non-Studio Gallop Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. It's being done by Studio Bridge, and at the time of recording this video, we are currently 46 episodes through the anime. At the moment, every single arc has been a 13-episode arc. 1 to 13 was Arc 1, 14 to 26 was Arc 2, so on and so forth. And so we are in our 4th arc at the moment, which has probably been the strongest arc in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime. I believe that, and everyone watching believes that. And I want to address the rumor, because I think this is where we need to start, that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is ending in 11 months. It's early May 2021 at the time of recording, and there are a lot of people out there who truly believe it's been definitively confirmed that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is ending at the end of March in 2022. And I know where that rumor started. It may have started from a video on my channel. I think a lot of people that might have watched that video might have taken what I was saying as definitive, conclusive information, which it definitely was not. It was meant to be speculative. But we tracked down the site, which is Unext, a very large, I think maybe the #1 streaming platform over in Japan, where this information came from. And so basically, in April of 2020, a user named JBix, a very well-known user in the community, made a tweet saying that Unext has the official licensing end date as March 31st, 2022. Now, most Yu-Gi-Ohs do end in March of whatever year, usually 3 years after the Yu-Gi-Oh! First begins. It happened with 5Ds, with Zexal, with Arc 5, and Vrains unfortunately didn't make it to the end of the 3rd year, only lasting 2.5 years. So it makes sense for the licensing and potentially the show to end at the end of March. That's kind of what we're used to as Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, and that's kind of what we're used to with Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows. And so a lot of us kind of saw this and thought, oh, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s will only be a 2-year anime before they move on to Yu-Gi-Oh! 8. Maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s will be the shortest anime ever created. But here's the problem. Unext is the only site and the only platform that has the end date listed. And it's not been consistent with its listings. I asked JBix a couple of months ago to go and check and see what the site was saying now that it was about a year later in 2021, and he noticed earlier this year, so this was literally 3 months ago, that the site actually changed the message. They changed the end date to no plans to end distribution within the end of the year. So they changed the message from, yeah, our licensing and this show is basically going to end in 2022 to, yeah, we really don't know what's going to happen. We just know that we'll have it for the next year. And then finally, another twist in the tale. Unext, as of today and as of about 3 weeks ago, changed it again, and they put it back to the date of March 31st, 2022. So what does this all mean? Frankly, it doesn't mean anything. I really don't think this means anything. I think that the date of March 31st, 2022 is nothing more than a placeholder. And the reason I really do believe that, there's actually two reasons. Number one, I don't think the streaming site Unext has any sort of insider knowledge that we and other sites don't have. I'm closely connected with quite a few people that would be able to kind of confirm this, and my sources, a couple of them, have told me that they have not heard anything about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's ending in 2022. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't end in 2022, but as far as they are concerned, they have not heard any rumors that that's when it's going to end. And I know that might not mean a lot, but I hope a few of you remember that when we got some Vrains news in July that said Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains was reaching its climax, I went on record and said, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is ending early. And a lot of people didn't really like that. A lot of people didn't really agree with that. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains ended up ending 6 months earlier than we expected. Not only did we get the climax wording, which was kind of weird and usually is synonymous with Yu-Gi-Oh! And wrapping things up. They did the same with the Arc 5 manga when it was reaching its final volume or final chapter. They said the Arc 5 manga is reaching its climax. It's just a traditional adjective that Yu-Gi-Oh! Tends to use when they're hinting at the end of the story. But not only was that wording important, I had a couple of sources telling me, sources that again work very closely with Konami and 4K and, you know, all these distribution platforms. I had a couple of sources telling me there's legitimacy to this. Vrains is coming to an end. And when I had those sources telling me that along with the climax wording, I was like, oh boy, yikes, Vrains is really going to end early. Those same sources, actually one of them is the same person that told me that, yeah, this is legit, Vrains is definitely ending sooner than expected, have told me that they have heard nothing of the sort, that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's is ending in March 2022. Now, that doesn't mean it can't happen, but as of now, that is not knowledge that's insider knowledge or public knowledge. And so I don't believe that Unext has any sort of informational leak that we as the public and that my sources do not have. On top of that, the second reason is Unext has not been steadfast with this wording. They have not been steadfast with this end date. For potentially 6 or 7 months, they changed the end date and the licensing end date on their site from March 2022 to, yeah, we'll have it for the next year, but we're not going to give you a definitive date. And now they're back to the March 31st, 2022. So if you are that confident on when this show is ending, why change the wording? Why change the end date on the site? I just don't buy it. I really don't believe that Unext has any sort of insider information here that the show is ending in 2 years. So for the people that really want to move on to Yu-Gi-Oh! 8, or maybe are convinced that this show, it's been announced and confirmed, because I've seen so many people say that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's is 100% ending in 2 years, which would be 11 months from now, I would really take it with a grain of salt. And if you want my honest opinion on it, I don't buy into this at all. I think there's just as likely of a chance that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's ends in 2022 as it ending in potentially 2024 or 2025. Now, my opinion on when Sevens is going to end might actually shock some of you guys. I don't think it's going to be a 3-year anime. I actually think there is a decent chance that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's is going to go for 4 years. And I know that might seem kind of random, it might be a little surprising, but what I've really noticed with Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's is it is basically an entire reboot to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime franchise. I don't think many people would disagree with that statement, whether you like Sevens or hate it. I don't think that's a statement that many people would argue. It has been a massive reboot to the franchise, and instead of focusing on the OCG and the TCG and the Master Duel, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's main purpose is to promote Rush Duels. And not only to promote Rush Duels, but to establish Rush Duels. Think about it. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Zexal, Arc 5, and Vrains all had the benefit of just adding on to an already super popular card game. They were giving birth to maybe a new mechanic of that card game, but they were not giving birth to an entire new card game. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's, that's their main job. That is the main job of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's, to promote and make Rush Duels as popular as possible. And through 46 episodes, from the Nico ratings we've seen, which I'm going to flash a few on screen right now, number 1 means the episode was very good. Number 5 means the episode was very bad. And this is a very big polling site over in Japan. It gives us probably the best insight as to what the Japanese fan base is thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. This is the site where they kind of really turned on Arc 5 at the end of the show, even though most of those were troll ratings in my opinion. But Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s has been received very well in Japan, and Rush Duels has been received very well in Japan. And when you think of the early stages of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters lasted 224 episodes, which is about 4 years. Actually, it's a little longer than 4 years, right? It's about 4 years and a few months. And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX lasted about 3.5 years. So when I look at the first 2 games, or the first 2 anime that were responsible for promoting and establishing the card game, they all lasted longer than that 3-year mark we have been so used to as Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans. So when I look at that, infused with how well Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s has been received in Japan, and how well the Rush Duel game is performing in Japan, I mean, the new Rush Duel video game that's coming out, pre-orders, I'm pretty sure outperformed Nier for like a day or 2, which is crazy in Japan. That is, and it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive. That is insane. And I'm pretty sure pre-orders on multiple occasions already have completely sold out for that Rush Duel game. So again, if you want an indication on how Rush Duels is doing, the game seems to be performing very, very well. Now, when it comes to the TCG market, that'll be another test, and that'll be very interesting to see how the game performs. But because of how well the show has been received, and because it is the starting platform, the poles in the foundation, if you will, for building the Rush Duel home, I believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s has a very good chance of going for maybe 5 years. 5 years would be a little long. I think 4 years is a good guess. And so I don't think that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is going to end personally until the spring of 2024. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is going to go until March 2024. Again, March 2023 would be the typical 3 years. I think it's going to go a full 4 years, maybe 3.5 years, and maybe it'll end around September of 2023, which is when, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains ended, and they have a 6-month buffer to work on the 8th anime, if there's going to be an 8th anime, but that's kind of what I am leaning towards. So, I mean, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this. I think it's a fascinating discussion, but I felt like I needed to make a video in regards to this because the amount of people that I have seen that are convinced that it is definitely ending Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s in 2 years, which again would be 11 months from now, is really baffling and a little startling. And, you know, misinformation and rumors spread very quickly on the internet, especially in fandoms. I've seen it many times in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom, and I always feel not responsible, but I always feel like I want to make a video just kind of disproving if there's any rumors out there that people are taking as definitive 100% concrete information. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's ending in 2022 is not concrete information. Although if you believe what Unext is saying, then you believe the show is ending in 2022. I mean, it's as simple as that. I've given reasons as to why I don't believe that for a second, but you certainly do not have to believe anything that I'm saying. And, you know, we'll just see what happens, but it will definitely be an interesting space to monitor. And, you know, thank you guys all so much for watching and checking out the video. You all rock. I will have a nice, fun discussion with you down below. Let me know when you think Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's is ending. Do you think it's going to end up being just 2 years? Do you think it'll be 3, 4, 5, or something crazy? I mean, let me know. I think anything that's not 3 years would be a little crazy because we're just not used to it as Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans. But I'm excited to talk to you all down below. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, Jarrett Buller, XLayer64, Brandon Gomez, and TenjoKogamiZaizen, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Anime Kaput, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, XZ's Lover 104. Thank you so much to everyone who supports me on Patreon, and to everyone who is a YouTube channel member. You guys help me out tremendously. I stream on Twitch I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. All the links will be down below. Thank you guys so much for your amazing support. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion. I will talk to you down below, and I hope you have an amazing day.
Wow.